What's going on, guys? Evan Barron here, and welcome to the channel. Today, super interesting one. We're talking about why people are leaving Chattanooga in 2023 and coming into 2024. And if you are looking to move to Chattanooga, these are some things that you may want to consider before making that move. Let's get right into it. Reason number one why people are leaving Chattanooga is that there are so many people moving in. According to the Times Free Press, Chattanooga is the top city attracting new residents. In fact, there are 3 times as many people moving to Chattanooga than there are moving out. There's 3 people moving in for every 1 person moving out. So it is getting quite crowded here. So why are people moving here? Number one is the location. Chattanooga is seated in a valley between 2 major mountain ranges, and a lot of people who move here, they love the outdoors and they love mountain views, and Chattanooga has a lot of that. You have the Cumberland Mountains to the west, and you have the Appalachian Mountains to the east, and what that affords you is a ton of outdoor activities and beautiful views. If you love hiking, mountain biking, rock climbing, camping, or any water activities, if you like being on the lake or hiking next to creeks or being on the river, stuff like that, then that's a big reason why people move here. Chattanooga is also very convenient when it comes to being close to major cities. You're within 2 hours of Atlanta, Nashville, and Knoxville. So if you don't find what you're looking for in Chattanooga, if you need to go to like IKEA or something, you can just drive down to Atlanta over the weekend and drive back up, and it's a pretty short drive and it's not too difficult either. It's also convenient when you're traveling farther than those major cities. I-75 runs right through Chattanooga, so that's a major highway that runs from Florida all the way up north, so it is a pass-through city. Chattanooga also has a very diverse economy, and it has a very hot job market. There are plenty of job opportunities in healthcare, in manufacturing. Chattanooga is also known as a tech hub, as it does have that citywide gigabyte network. Some people call this city the Silicon Valley of the South. This place is also very family friendly. There's a ton of stuff and attractions to do for the family, not only outdoors, but plenty of museums and indoor parks as well. And Southern culture and Southern charm is real. People are very nice here. We have a very wide range of people here, including college students, families, and retirees. And I have mentioned this in previous videos, but Chattanooga used to fly under the radar, but people are realizing that Tennessee is more than just music and food. Chattanooga especially is a great place to live. It's great for families, and honestly, it's a great place to have a good quality of life because, especially if you love the outdoors. If you guys are looking to buy a home here in Chattanooga, I am a licensed realtor, so feel free to contact me in any of the ways down below, and I'll be absolutely happy to help you guys out. We've also seen a pretty large influx of retirees because there are a few master plan communities that offer great neighborhoods and great amenities within those neighborhoods. We have Jasper Highlands, which is a favorite among people moving here. Jasper Highlands, and then we have River Gorge Ranch, which is still in the early stages of development, but it is getting developed, and it's pretty exciting news for Chattanooga. And we also have Black Creek, which is pretty much fully developed. There are a few things that need to happen. There's another major portion of that development in order for it to be completed, but there are a ton of options there as well, and the amenities that are within those master plan communities are awesome. There's tennis, there's golf, there's restaurants, there's convenience stores, so it's very convenient to be in those locations. And along with that, a lot of people are moving here because of the lower cost of living. We do not have a state income tax, which is awesome. And the cost of living overall is lower despite the rising housing prices. If you have been looking at the housing market in Chattanooga, you'll realize that in order to get into a decent home here, it's getting a little bit more expensive. We can no longer find a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on, 3 acres for $250,000, $300,000. That's just not a thing anymore, unfortunately. However, despite that, the cost of living, groceries, gas, transportation, utilities, all of those things are going to be lower than the US average. Now, what are some consequences of all of these people moving in because of the things that I mentioned above? The number one thing that annoys me the most is increased traffic. 4 or 5, even 2, 3 years ago, the traffic was not bad at all. It was very rare that, I would get stuck in traffic and sit there for, more than 15 minutes. But now that is becoming a reality. If you're traveling to downtown or even a little bit outside of downtown now, on the highway during rush hour traffic, there is quite a bit of traffic. The good news is that Chattanooga still is not a very big city. It is not very wide. So when you are sitting in traffic, it's likely not for very long, depending on where you live, because the exit is likely nearby. If there is no traffic at all, you can drive from one suburb on the edge of Chattanooga to another within 30 minutes. Well, like I mentioned before, there are 3 people moving in for every 1 person moving out. And what this has done is it has caused a ton of demand and a ton of pent-up demand and not enough people listing their homes for sale. A lot of people get surprised when I talk to them when they call in, when I tell them that, yeah, housing prices have pretty much stayed the same, if not increased, despite the higher interest rates. The reason is because what I mentioned above, there are 3 people moving in for every 1 person moving out. But not only that, 90% of homeowners right now are locked in at a sub 6% interest rate. And what that means is they would love to sell their house and move into a new house. However, they do not want to trade their lower interest rate for a higher one. So they likely just don't sell at all. Or if they are listed on, if the house is listed on the market, then they're not really willing to come down all that much because they're wanting to get as much as they can in order to, put that money down on the next home. There are also a ton of people coming from states like Texas, Florida, California, New York. And what this means is they have a lot more cash on hand to honestly pay cash for homes, so the interest rates don't really affect them. Another reason why people are moving out of Chattanooga is the weather. We do have all 4 seasons here, but there's about a month or 2 in the summer where it can get extremely hot and humid. During these warmer months, we can definitely see some gnarly thunderstorms, and sometimes tornadoes come up as well. During springtime, this is tornado season here in Chattanooga. The last major tornado came through in 2020, which was 3.5 years ago now. We haven't seen one since, but just realize that they could happen, and it's definitely something that you should know. During the wet season, we can also see flooding happen as well, which I don't see a lot of people talking about. When it rains, it pours, and sometimes it floods, especially in those areas that have creeks or rivers running through them. Winter is by far my least favorite month because not only does it get colder, but I see the sun less. It does get pretty cold and gloomy and cloudy, and I would honestly just rather have sunshine than that. During winter, it's, cloudy pretty much 50% of the time. Because Chattanooga is seated in between 2 mountain ranges, we're seated in a valley, and what that means is we have a ton of vegetation coming from these mountain ranges and a ton of pollination and nowhere for that pollen to go, so it just sinks into the valley, allowing everyone into the valley to suffer. So if you do experience allergies from pollen, then you might suffer here. However, there is a solution to this. If you buy a home at a higher elevation, like on top of the ridges in Hickson or on top of Signal Mountain or Lookout Mountain, or there are some opportunities to buy homes in elevated areas in Ottawa and east in the east as well, you can avoid this pollen too, because you are in the higher elevation and the pollen sinks down to the lower elevated areas. And that is the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I am a licensed realtor here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So if you are looking to move to Chattanooga and you're looking to buy a home, feel free to contact me in any of the ways down below, and I'll be happy to help you guys out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.